All right. Oh, I forgot. Um, bear with me, guys. All right, there we go. There we go. Let's fix everything. I'm trying to make sure I got everything good. We did some changes today, so we're trying to make sure everything is right. Hopefully everybody can fucking hear me while I'm talking. But we will see. Um, Let me see if y'all. Oh wait, I don't know if y'all can hear the Yeah, yeah, y'all definitely can hear that. Okay, bet. See, y'all can't hear me. Say less. Bet. All right, let's get right into this shit then. So as you can see, we're gonna be watching Riyadh. I forgot how to say his name, but Myron's brother break down the and Kuwait telling Trump no during the peace talks. So let's see how that goes down, and after that, we just have X timeline. So nothing too major today. What's today? Friday. Yeah, I haven't gotten anything too crazy. How much is a barrel of oil today? Is that 100 Brent? Yeah, $100 right now. So peace talks weren't so peaceful, I guess. But yeah, let's get right into the shit.
The bitch shaking it, showing it. You this, you that. We laughing at them together. Oh! So stop treating these mother like they mean something.
Let's go to TikTok. All right, perfect. Let's get right into this shit.
From NBC News and Ryan Grimm, it says here Trump's Project Freedom collapsed after Saudi Arabia and Kuwait suspended U.S. military access to their bases, airspace, and overflight rights. The kingdom blocked the U.S. from flying aircraft out of Prince Sultan Air Base or through Saudi airspace, completely grounding the operation and removing the air defense umbrella protecting ships in transit. Now, what did I tell you, people? What did I tell you? I predicted, my brother and I as well, we clearly predicted and stated from February that if the United States is to get into a long-winded conflict with Iran, regardless of whatever happens, one of the key takeaways and one of the things that will forfeit the ability to actually exercise in favor of our power after the conflict is that we have control of bases or several military bases scattered throughout the GCC or these Gulf nations. Of course, the most important ones being in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the largest one being in Qatar. That one was hit, at least a power plant was hit, and so it was not operational for a duration of time. And now we've gotten to the point where we try to launch a further operation, that being Operation Freedom, and Kuwait and Saudi Arabia came out today, just about 20 or 30 minutes ago. This is a verified report that they did not want the United States to operate from their bases or use their airspace to protect the ships in the strait.
I mean, they've came out and said that before. They've said, "Oh, we don't want them doing that, and we don't like that they're doing that," but they still let them do it. So it's the fact. It's this. It's if we got to see if we let them do it.
Ships obviously being responsible for fulfilling the mission of Donald Trump's Operation Freedom. Pete Hegseth coining it as the Red, White, and Blue Dome. This was a plan announced on Sunday, and we'll go through Trump's Truth Social post. We got a lot to cover, so don't worry. This was announced on Sunday as a plan to escort these vessel ships, or these cargo vessels, these oil vessels, out of the Strait of Hormuz. Approximately 1,500 to 2,000 ships are currently stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, unable to pass through due to the blockade from Iran, as well as the blockade from the United States on the blockade, which has proved to be an economic disaster and has put the conflict into more economic turmoil, or actually caused more economic turmoil. And so Donald Trump tried to address this. So go back Sunday, Donald Trump, he says, we're going to launch this operation because of the desperation of all these Middle Eastern countries and all these European countries asking us to get involved. He said this on Truth Social. Don't forget, prior, Donald Trump, and I'm getting straight into the show here. I'm not even doing any announcements. Maybe let me read a chat, but don't forget, prior, Donald Trump had said, oh, well, NATO is a paper tiger. These countries need the strait more than us. We don't need to open up the strait. They need to worry about the strait. We're not going to help them. If they ask us for help, then maybe we'll get involved. Here's the thing. They're not asking for help. They're asking for both sides to reach a peace deal. That's what the Chancellor of Germany says. He's condemned both sides. That's why the United States, really, Donald Trump pulled out 5,000 plus troops because he was upset with him. And every other European country as well has voiced condemnation, Italy and others, and NATO as a whole. And so really, it's become a situation where we tried to act like the strait being blocked was not affecting us. That proved to really be invalid after maybe a week or so of the conflict ongoing, and then the economic pressure fluttering over to the United States. Why? Because gas is at an average of $4.50 right now. And if you don't know, when energy prices increase, so do the price of every single good after, right? Everything else kind of ensues. So you have energy going up, then you have groceries going up, and then everything else that people need. Regular everyday activities, regular everyday items can go up. Even car parts. I was looking at car parts earlier, brakes and things like that. Prices have gone up. And of course, you got tariffs to couple in with that. It doesn't really help the matter. But overall, we've kind of bragged, the Trump administration has bragged and said, we don't need the Strait of Hormuz. All right, fine. And to make a fair point, we definitely don't need it nearly as much as these countries. Remember, 20% of
I was going to say we don't need it nearly as much as the countries that do need it, but it still affects the economy in whole.
Global oil kind of runs through that 21-mile passageway, being the Strait of Hormuz, that is responsible for direct transport to Asia, Indochina, and then Europe. They actually depend on that oil physically. That's the oil that they use for their countries to power their countries, for energy, for gas, everything else in between. They've had a shortage of that. And so now they're kind of entering the beginning, or really have been in the beginning stage of it.
But with the European countries too, is that it's opened them up to be the source of energy. Like Russia is now the source where everybody getting their gas from right now. So since I think it's cool. Where is it at? The UAE. It's either Kuwait or UAE or Qatar, where the gas where we get 20, where all the gas where most of the gas comes from, like 90% of the gas comes from. And since they can't go through the strait, Russia is really doing all the gas exporting.
An energy crisis.
Perfect.
And now due to that, there has been an economic disaster in terms of the global oil market. We've felt it here in the United States. I'm not sure where oil is right now. I haven't checked, but it's always hovering around 100, 109. It's even crept up to 120 at some points. And experts and analysts have predicted is that if this conflict continues on, it will easily cross the boundary of 200, which will be catastrophic for oil prices. And if you think things are expensive now, it'll get worse. Donald Trump and the MAGA administration understands this is political unaliving for them. Midterms are right around the corner. They are going to lose the House. They are going to lose a lot of the Senate likely. So for them, they have to look politically stable, strong, and actually have a control of the situation by the time November rolls over. And so this is damage control. What does Donald Trump try to do to kind of address the answer of, or the question of, well, gas is so high, this war has made everything unaffordable? The first thing he does, and this is the thing that they've all echoed, and you're going to see Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump himself say this. I'm going to play these clips in a moment. But the first thing they do is go, well, we don't actually need that gas. The United States can afford to pay a little bit of a higher gas price because of the fact that Iran won't have a nuclear weapon. They're saying, don't complain, stop complaining, be grateful because now Iran won't have a nuke. Donald Trump actually told kids this inside of the White House. There were some clips that surfaced. I'll play those as well. And now, in desperation to open up that strait that we so viciously bragged we don't need open, we launched Operation Freedom. CENTCOM had announced this on Sunday night, or really Sunday afternoon at around 4 p.m. Eastern time. And the plan essentially was to give a naval escort with several aircraft carriers, several different guided cruise missile ships, or all these different military assets to protect these oil vessels and passing through the Strait of Hormuz.
Guys, I don't know why these niggas. Like, guys. Oh, God, I hate when it just gets so extra. Thank you. All right. Oh, see, and then here we go, getting extra again. All right, guys, look at this. Come here. Holy crap. Yeah, okay. I'm about to fucking get this shit out my face. Okay, since we have to be so extra today, guys, look at this. The Strait of Hormuz is this big. All right? I don't give a fuck how many naval military ships you have helping you get through this shit. You're not getting through this shit. The rest of this, mountain. Okay? The drones that they make are cheap as shit. It takes like it doesn't take too many drones to destroy a ship, okay? You're in the middle of the ocean. It's not like you're gonna be able to get repairs right then and there. The repairs aren't gonna be immediate either, so it doesn't take much to destroy a ship passing through here. It's not too much land to cover, okay? So there's nothing they can do to get through this. So that when he says shit like that, you know this nigga just saying shit.
Excuse me. And it was a monumental failure. It didn't even last a day. The IRGC had struck a cargo ship belonging to a French firm, allegedly, and that was a ship that was being led by the U.S. Navy escort, or this naval escort. And they tried to walk it back, at least CENTCOM did, in saying that this is not going to be this military offensive campaign. But I mean, if Iran is weaponizing the Strait of Hormuz, and we're directing our Navy inside of that same strait that we are blockading, by the way, in order to pull ships out so they can export oil, which is what they've been weaponizing so that they don't have to get attacked militarily, well, then it kind of makes it an offensive measure in a way, because we're getting involved in their main weapon. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't, right? The Strait of Hormuz needs to be open. I'm not this pro-IRGC guy. I think it's annoying that it's closed. I don't like the fact that prices have skyrocketed. I don't like the fact that the world as a whole and its economies have kind of suffered as a result. But you also have to be reasonable. You also have to be a little bit more logical and sensible. Iran does not really have much wiggle room here. They don't have the most powerful military. They're a middle power at best. A lot of their missiles are still existent, but they're not able to be utilized if the United States is not launching kinetic strikes on Iran. Now, they hit the oil facility in Fujairah, the oil pipeline in Fujairah on the coastline of the UAE, right next to Oman, just recently on Monday. But in regards of kinetic or military strikes, Iran has not really been able to exercise that ability because the United States has not really provoked them in doing so ever since the ceasefire that took place on April 6th or April 7th, followed by J.D. Vance and his attempted peace talks that failed. So it's kind of been this economic war, back and forth blockades, back and forth choking of one another's economy. We try to block their ports. Ships allegedly got through. We struck a ship the other day, killed some passengers, whatever have you. But
would you be happy if you stayed where you are in life and job forever? If the answer is yes, then this video is not for you.
Things have really been transforming in Iran's favor. And I'll tell you how, and I'll get into everything. But Project Freedom stopped as of May 5th, and it was launched on May 4th. So it only lasted about a day. And of course, this failed because the IRGC has the ability of hurling drones over the strait, missiles, whatever it is, and threatening these oil vessels, which will be a lot more reluctant to actually pass through, even with a U.S. guarantee of military security. And this is what Donald Trump tried in the beginning of the conflict. He said, we'll guarantee these ships, and no insurance company is actually going to guarantee any sort of protection or damage coverage for these ships if the IRGC, this country that's being attacked, or the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the military faction of Iran, is threatening to attack these ships as a result of U.S. invasion, which is what we did. We invaded them on February 28th. And we struck Tehran, we killed their supreme leader, so obviously this is a charged up regime. So we tried the Operation Freedom, it doesn't work, But this is the biggest thing that I want to highlight to all of you. Pay very close attention here. Since the start of this war, one country has been looking significantly stronger and one country has been looking significantly weaker. Have you been noticing that? And this is actually, to my dismay, I don't like to admit this, but this is unfortunately the truth for anybody who is not MAGA captured, anybody who is not an idiot, a modern day neoconservative. Really, the reality has become Iran has displayed that it's strong. They display that they have the escalation dominance. They have the ability of deterrence because they just stopped Trump in his tracks from his next operation and opening up the strait. Didn't even last 48 hours. And so really the United States has failed after failed. It's been failure after failure after failure and kind of these empty, bold claims. And Donald Trump has not helped the matter. He's launched all these threats on Truth Social saying, we're going to destroy their military and we're going to completely cut their legs out from under them. We're going to change the regime. The people are going to take the country back. And none of that has happened, really. We have not stopped their missiles program. We have not stopped their drones program. Their drones program just hit a oil facility in the UAE, that being in Fujairah. I think 3 Indian workers were injured as a result, and then subsequent strikes in the following days. However, Iran has not claimed responsibility for those. They said that that wasn't them. I don't know how true that is there, because they received global condemnation, those strikes in the oil ports, so maybe they thought, hey, let's pull back on this, or at least claiming ownership for the attacks. But you can see that Iran has become very bold, and their confidence has bolstered because they've just now successfully deterred the most powerful country in the world militarily for the last 68 days, I believe this conflict has now reached. So we're going into our 3rd month now. It is May. It's currently May 6th. We're moving on to May 7th, and still no peace talks have actually gone anywhere, no peace deal, and the ceasefire has extended. Now,
and the strait is to close.
Yesterday and the day before seemed like the kind of cusp of the ceasefire because of the fact that the naval blockade was going to be opened up by this Operation Freedom Plan that Donald Trump had launched on Truth Social on Sunday, paired along with Central Command. And so they said, we're going to open up the strait. We're going to guide these ships through. Didn't work. But what Robert Pape is saying, and what all the other experts, as well as myself, I'm not an expert, but what I was predicting as well, is the United States was banking on an attack on a U.S. Navy vessel in order to actually attack Iran full-fledged like we did in the beginning of the conflict in the first 40 days. That seemed to at least be the plan of this trap of provoking Iran into actually striking the United States, so we had a valid grounds or basis for hitting them back. As you know, Donald Trump and his Operation Epic Fury has received global condemnation from his NATO partners and everybody else because of the fact that the war was highly unnecessary and does not prove to be beneficial for the United States whatsoever. Rather, it proves to be beneficial for Israel. And this is the whole thing. Benjamin Netanyahu obviously sold the idea that this would be a short-scaled conflict. This would not be long-winded. This would not be an Iraq Part 2. This would be a shorter Gulf War. We would take out the key components in Iran.
They thought it would be just like Venezuela. Let's take out the head. Once we cut the head off, they'll take over and change the country.
Military leadership, and then from there, we'd walk away and we'd have a regime we don't have to worry about in the Middle East, that being the IRGC. This home of terror, this harbor of terror, funder of the proxy networks, and most importantly, and what this administration has been weaponizing, this nuclear threat, right? They're going to make a nuke. They already have a nuke. They're a week away from a dirty bomb. Stephen Witkoff, Mark Levin, all these guys echoing the same sentiment, really. It's been the same Hasbaran rhetoric for years, actually. Since the 90s, we've been saying that Iran is very close to making a full-scale mass destructive weapon, right? Weapons of mass destruction. It's the same thing. However, we've gone to Iran, and to Donald Trump's surprise, I would assume, what was supposed to be a few weeks has now lasted 68 days. I'm telling you all of this to say that Iran has proved they are far more powerful than they actually are. That doesn't matter as much, though. What they actually did prove that's way more detrimental for us back at home is we're not as strong as we once seemed. It was the truth.
What really hurt is that they're showing that the petrodollar can be changed. We can take over the petrodollar and make it different, because that's what that's their whole, that's really their whole like plan and goal, is to make the petrodollar disappear, because the petrodollar is basically what runs America. We get our money from oil. Our money is backed by nothing. Technically oil, but so backed by nothing. But so since we control all the oil and all the countries have to buy all of our all of the oil in our money because the oil countries that we protect buy the oil in our money. Well, let us buy the oil in our money. Um, we then control the oil market because now the only way you can buy oil is in American dollars. So that's really what's going on. The petrodollar is at risk right now.
It was a reality that at a point in time, the United States could exercise brinksmanship, put our naval vessels, our amphibious assault vessels on the coastline of any nation, and say, you need to comply with our demands. If you don't, things will get worse. And that was typically more than enough to actually get any country to concede to our maximalist demands or our desires, whatever we needed them to do. That was kind of like the MO. Now that hasn't worked. Obviously, we tried that on Iran, and Iran, their foreign minister, all of their spokespeople always echo the same or harbor really the same sentiment. We will not be bullied by the United States. And so now they're calling Axios Foxios. They're saying Axios is fake news. I mean, they've gotten brave. And it's gotten to the point now where they're telling you what Donald Trump is going to try to do, and then they're telling you how they're going to respond, and they're telling you how it's going to fail, and then Donald Trump is going to go back to the drawing board and try something else. That's what's been happening for the last month and a half now, since we've had this extended ceasefire, which I hope continues to extend. But to no avail, it has not worked. And so continuously, as we try and exercise more steps, as we try and exercise new possibilities of peace, or maybe new military campaigns, or these shadowy, vague operations like Operation Freedom, where we're actually provoking them to attack us, whatever we try, it doesn't work. They call it out, they stop it, they shut it down, and then we have to go back to square one. And Donald Trump has to let out this lie. He hurls these lies on Truth Social or to the press and says, well, don't worry, it all worked out, but we actually have good negotiations ongoing. And so now Donald Trump, and this is out of the New York Times, but everybody's really saying this, Donald Trump is saying, we're in a good stage of talks with Iran right now. We're having good talks. But then Iranian leadership, Ismail Baghia, I believe his name is, the spokesperson for Foreign Minister of Affairs, as well as Abbas Araghchi, are both saying we're not talking to anybody, right? And this has been the case since the beginning. They're saying there's really no negotiations that are currently being had. The United States seized their operation, and now we don't know what's next. And that's the reality, right? So it's just this back and forth. But remember, Donald Trump said in the beginning, and he said several times in the last few weeks, we don't know who to talk to. They don't have leadership that's existing. But then at the same time, he's saying, we're having good talks with Iran right now. And so it looks like they're going to come to the table. They're very desperate for a deal. And it's a constant contradiction. It's a fest of contradictions.
Yeah,
and it's gotten to the point now where it's just really an insult to the American people. And this has become so
no, because American people are, on average, niggas are mostly dumb. So it's not really an insult because they're not really watching the right stuff to know that he's lying. Whereas people who aren't dumb, have people who have actually have a brain are watching the right stuff to see that he's lying. Whereas some people are just watching one thing. Some people just watch Fox. Some people just watch CNN. Some people just watch ABC. Some people just watch one thing. So it's, especially the boomers, they don't fucking know how to pick up their phone and use that for shit. So
detrimental, not only because of the fact that gas is high and the economy is suffering and Wall Street is feeling it and investors don't like it, and the UAE and these Gulf countries will not actually be able to capitalize on tourism and real estate like they once were kind of leaning on, because that's the direction that they're going to have to shift towards instead of oil in the next 20 or 30 years as the world moves towards electric rather than energy or oil. But the real issue with all of this ongoing, or the real biggest problem with this conflict, is that the United States has kind of lost that iconic number one on the scale figure, or we've lost that we are the best, most strongest power in the world and nobody can touch us. And remember how bad the conflict looked in Iraq. Iraq was a 10, 20-year struggle. It was this problem that we cannot put a cap on. It was a war that was started for a false pretext, which was weapons of mass destruction, something that never existed. The UN admitted this. George Bush actually admitted this in an interview with CNN in 2017. But this is even worse. We're not saying Iran has weapons of mass destruction. We're saying they have nukes. They don't have nukes. They don't even have nukes. They never had nukes. They had a fatwa, which is a religious ruling in 2003, if my memory serves me correctly, that nukes are haram because of the destruction that they may cause upon an innocent civilian population, as well as the fact that they've onwardly and repeatedly expressed they don't actually want a nuke They're just hedging at 60% enriched uranium, which is not weapons grade, but it's close to it, in order to deter factions like the Israeli Defense Force and the United States from overthrowing their regime or threatening their right to self-determination, their sovereignty, all of those other things. So this has not worked. If Iraq looked bad for the last 20 years, imagine how bad this is going to look. And so it really doesn't matter what Donald Trump tries to do anymore. The fact that he started this war and now it's potentially ending, according to Marco Rubio, is even worse because we got nothing done. At least in Iraq, we actually overthrew the regime. We got rid of Saddam Hussein, which, for better or worse, you can argue later. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying we actually achieved some goals in Iraq, and it still proved to be fruitless and detrimental for the Middle East and the U.S. as a whole. Of course, it served the largest benefit to Israel. Israel was the greatest beneficiary of that conflict. And they wanted that conflict to happen. That's what Netanyahu was dreaming of since he took power in the 90s, the clean break deal, everything else in between. That is something that he created. He was the architect of the United States kind of getting involved in the Middle East, starting with Iraq in 2003. Not starting, but really the kinetic aspect and the full-scale forever war idea started in the early 2000s, late 90s. But now we've done the same thing in Iran, and it's like, when are people going to learn? You know, we always lie and say, this country has a terrorist regime, this country has these great big weapons, we start a war, we kill a bunch of people, we raise gas prices, we destroy our ability of deterrence or looking like a stable nation, and in turn, we have not even changed the regime in Iran, we have not even cut off their missile supply, we have not even stopped their enrichment of uranium, they still have it, we haven't seized it, we've done nothing. We've literally done nothing. Militarily, they're defeated is what a lot of people will say. Yeah, but to what benefit is that? I mean, what does that even mean? And this is the problem, too. This is how you know this conflict isn't going well for us. Look at the last 3 weeks. Have you tried reading the news aside from watching my streams? You'd probably become very confused. Everybody's saying different things. This administration is running around like chickens with their fucking heads cut off. No one knows what the hell is happening.
Nah, it's so funny. He's such like he looks such like Myron. But no, he's correct. It's weird when you see how bad it looks on the outside. Like when you're actually looking at everything from the outside and see all of it together, it looks fucking horrible. It looks like our government really don't give a fuck and we just go with it. Like I'm telling you, it looks bad. But yeah, Saudi and Kuwait telling Trump no is just the beginning. Like I said, not last week, but Wednesday, UAE just backed out of OPEC, so that's another player. Like I said, petrodollar is in jeopardy because the more Saudi Arabia has already backed out, UAE backed out, the more people that are backing out because they know that we can't protect them. Really, we just there to protect Israel. They're not going to trust. They're definitely not going to trust the U.S. anymore, and that is going to be very detrimental because we won't have no presence in the Middle East and say goodbye to any type of diplomacy because after this, I don't know who would trust us to do anything. But we were gonna do X timeline. We were gonna do X timeline. But the other day, I think it was today actually, I saw that Dan had called Nick a Fed, and I was trying to see if anybody had said anything about it. But this nigga made a video. I guess not. I guess it wasn't the other day. I guess it was today. I swear it was like earlier today. I saw it like Dan called Nick a Fed. So let's see what the fuck Nick got to say about this.
I have a karmic debt? Like, what is going on? Like, seriously, did Palantir make the call? What is happening here? Because it is like for the past 2 weeks, I have been under this coordinated attack. Think about it. All of a sudden, Jonathan Greenblatt goes on TV and says he's going to get every Groyper clipping account banned from Instagram. The Atlantic does a huge hit piece about how all my clips need to be banned on Instagram. The Canadian broadcasting company, State Media, shuts down Entropy, which is how I make the super chats. They literally fly out to Asia and they do a big hit piece on my super chat platform. Washington Post does a giant, like 5,000 word hit piece on the super chats, invoking Christine from Ohio, talking trash about the show, all this other stuff. Then they do this skin suit conference this past weekend where they bring in all the ops and all the turd worldists, mud slimes, left-wing filth, haters.
Yo, this nigga said turd worldist. I gotta steal that. That's
e-girls,
crazy.
Whatever.
That's crazy.
And then, I don't know, today it's just like the bottom fell out. Everybody's attacking me today. And so I see all this stuff and I'm like, wow, they really don't want white people to vote Democrat. Is that what it is? Think about it. I really didn't even think that was the biggest taboo.
Oh my goodness. I don't know why they're so mad at him for saying that. Like, he is just sick and tired. He's really tired of, he's just sick and tired of Republicans. He just is. Like, he wants something to change, and that's just the way of him saying he wants it to change. For people to say that, I hate that they say he's a Fed now because of that. Like, he said it before. Like, he's done this before.
There's some red lines you just can't cross, I guess. Lately, you can attack Jews all day long. That's totally in fashion. You can attack Israel. You can be racist. People don't even bat an eye when I say the N-word. Nobody even cares. But you start to say, I'm off the Republican plantation, I'm voting Democrat, and everybody loses their minds. Why? Because all that other stuff is according to their plan. Nick Fuentes is anti-Semitic, says the N-word. The Goyim are waking up. You know, that's all part of the plan. Nobody freaks out because all of that is predictable. All of that is a part of the plan. But you know, for the past 4 years, we've all been saying, hey, Republicans are not doing anything they promised to do. They're not deporting the illegals. They're not keeping us out of the war. They're giving Israel tens of billions of dollars. And the Republicans say, well, what are you going to do about it, huh? What can you do? You've got no options. You've got nowhere to go. We're the only game in town. What are you going to do? Vote Democrat? And what happens when the groypers, what happens when the wang halves, what happens when the white guys say, yeah, I'm thinking we are. I'm thinking we are going to vote Democrat. We are going to vote Democrat in the midterms. We are going to vote for Amy Acton in Ohio. Yeah, because fuck this Indian. Yes, we are voting for Amy Acton because fuck this Indian anchor baby. He's a literal anchor baby. You ran on mass deportations. You ran on ending birthright citizenship. And you're running an anchor baby, first-gen Indian pharmaceutical billionaire who hates Americans for governor. And you're surprised when people say, yeah, this guy needs to lose. I'm going to help him lose. I'm going to vote for the Democrat. I'd rather have the lesser of two evils. Yeah, a Democrat is less bad than an anchor baby Republican. So it seems like this is how I know it's the right move. You understand? When you encounter the resistance, that is when you know you're doing the right thing. People say you're getting all this pushback. It's so provocative. It's so controversial. People are saying it's unthinkable. You're ruining everything. How could you do this? It's unthinkable. That's how you know we're exactly where we need to be. You are exactly where you need to be. Because honestly, this is the same kind of dynamic when I said not to vote for Trump. Remember that? All these people that are telling me not to vote Democrat, they were all pro-Trump in 2024, down to a man and woman. They were all saying, you can't sit this one out. What are we really going to have? Kamala, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. It's going to be a golden age. How could you... Remember? I remember the exuberance of election night, people posting the jib-jab face swap of Vivek, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker, and Trump, and Vance dancing to Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. And people said that was funny. People said that was a good meme. People said that we have all the energy, woke is dead. It's all the same people. They were behind then. They were 2 steps behind then, and then they caught up and said, oh my gosh, you were so right. How were we so blind? We kneel. Trump was a Jewish puppet. They're 2 steps behind now, and now it takes them 3 weeks to say, why is he saying to vote Democrat? I don't get it. This is too complicated. So
it's just funny because he always explains it. Like, I don't know if niggas actually watch the stream or not, or if people actually watch his show when he says the shit that he says, or they just watch a fucking clip. But it's like he says it, bro. He literally says why he does what he does. Like, I don't know what else he wants.
For example, Dan Bilzerian today says. He says on Twitter, first he's telling...
And I love Dan. Dan be liking my reels. I love Dan. He's one of the goats. I love... I want to say most of the guys that are in the manosphere I pretty much want to say I like them because they're pretty funny. They say some good things, and you know, they don't seem like bad people, but I just hate when they go at each other. It's so fucking annoying.
Us that the left is trying to kill right-wingers. Now he says to vote for the Democrat in Ohio. It's too contradictory. And it's like, Dan, I know you're not that smart, but it's really not that complicated. I mean, it really boils down to that. This is why they call us Goyim. Like, sorry, this is why they call us Goyim. I used to think low IQ anti-Semitism is just something that they said.
Yo, this guy's a joke today.
Wrong. Okay. I was wrong. Low IQ anti-Semitism is real. It's Dan Bilzerian. You know it. I know it. Pretty much the whole world knows it. There is such a thing as low IQ anti-Semitism. We have been seeing it. It has been out of control. It has been running rampant. And what do I mean by that? It's these people that all they know how to say is, it's the fucking Jews. That's all. It's like they're just pressing a button. They can't tell you anything about it. There's no depth. There's no complexity. There's no even real understanding. They don't.
But like that's what another thing with like Dan, he does pretty good with his history and he knows what he be talking about. So that's why I just hate when they go at each other. It just be funny to watch, but oh god, I know the fucking people be going look at these guys. Look at them going at each other. I just oh god.
Know anything about anything. That's all they maybe Hitler is a good guy. A Holocaust joke. It's a fucking Jews. Hey retard, it's a fucking Jew. I know, Dan. He calls me up on the phone. He tells me it's the Jews for 2 hours. I want to say, Dan, I know. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Nick Fuentes. I've been saying that for 10 years. I know. Every time he calls and I pick up the phone, he's telling me about how the communist commissars are Jewish. Got it. I know. He's telling me about how it's all of them. I know. He's telling me about how, Israel's causing all the wars and not. I know. Preaching to the choir. Got it. Anyway,
stupid, bro.
So he says,
this guy's a clown,
he's
bro.
telling us that the left is going to kill us, but now you're. Look, I mean, how much clearer can I make it? I've said it so many times. We are going Democrat in 2026. This is a midterm election year. Do you understand that? It means that every House seat
Unc with the subs. All right. That lets me know Unc is in the chat. So Unc, I figured out how to stream to everywhere, like Rumble, YouTube, Kick, Facebook, everything. So I got to figure out how to see your chats if I can. I don't know why I can't see them. But I got to figure out how to see your chats. But once I figure that out, oh, there you go, right on the screen right there. Oh, there we go. I see the fire. Okay, so it does pop up on the screen at least. All right. Yeah, there we go. Good. Okay. Yeah, it does pop up on the screen. We was late today, so it's okay. We was a little late today. But I was figuring out how to do all that. But now we're streaming on Rumble, Kick, YouTube, Facebook, all that shit. So that's what I figured out today. And that's what made us late. Appreciate you with the sub. I appreciate seeing you in the chat. Let's get it.
1/3 of the Senate is up for election. The president is not up for election this year, Dan. Okay? Now, if Democrats win the House, then for the next 2 years, you'll have a Republican president, a Democrat House, and maybe a tie in the Senate. Maybe Republicans will maintain control. And the Supreme Court is favored for the conservatives. So what does that mean? It means that Democrats are not going to be able to do whatever they want. There's no scenario where that happens because of checks and balances. The Democrats in the House will have to reconcile anything they pass with the Republican-controlled Senate. And even if the Democrats control the Senate, the president will have to sign off on any legislation. And that can only be overcome by a supermajority in the Senate of 3/5. Okay, this is Civics 101. And the
Bro, he says this all. I'm only laughing because he says this all the time. Like this is he literally said this before he even did this plan. He did this before. Piers Morgan was drilling him about this. You said to tell him to not to vote. And he's like, that's not what I said. Like they were drilling him about this before. Like I don't know why they be making such a big deal when he says this shit.
Democrats will not have that. So
Next plan
what
ain't gonna
does
work.
this effectively do for the next 2 years? It does not give Democrats total control. It just checks.
But I see he's just doing something different. He's just trying something different. He's just doing something different. Like it's like I don't know why they get so like I don't know why like people get so mad at each other. Like he's just doing something different. Don't. As a whole, facts.
The power of Trump. Right now, the Republicans.
But we was watching this because today, Dan had made a tweet today. He was like, Nick is a Fed. And he said that because Nick said he was going to be voting Democrat because the Republicans don't. He literally just explained it because Republicans don't listen to him. So he said he's going to do something different. So I'm like, he can't just do something different. Shit.
Control the White House, the House, and the Senate. And what that means is that in key votes, like, for example, on the Epstein files,
even though none of this shit matters, you know, we both know none of this shit matters.
Republicans are able to block that legislation. The only reason that the Epstein files came out is because a handful of Republicans, one of whom who is now retired, Marjorie Taylor Greene, mutinied against the GOP and voted with Democrats. But if Republicans had a bigger majority, they would have been able to bury the Epstein files permanently. The same is true with the War Powers Act. There was a resolution in the Senate to shut down Trump's war in Iran. It was a party line vote. Every Republican, with the exception of Rand Paul, voted to prevent the Senate from blocking Trump's war in Iran. If the
I don't want it to be that way, Uncle, but I definitely agree with what you just said.
Democrats controlled the Senate, maybe they would have stopped the war. Okay, so this is just basic stuff. What's more, the Democrats control the House. Under the Constitution, they gain oversight powers. What does that mean? It means they can subpoena, compel the release of documents, they can depose, compel testimony, they can create subcommittees, and what they will do almost certainly is they will investigate the Trump government. Don't we want that? If Trump is in the Epstein files, don't we want the Democrats to impeach him? Don't we want the Democrats to open up an investigation? Don't we want them to compel the release of documents, compel testimony? They get that with oversight powers, and they will do that. And people say, oh, well, voting doesn't matter. Oh, well, it's all a uni party. Well, the Republicans and Democrats are still vying for power between each other. And so, yes, just like the Democrats gained the House in 2019 and immediately impeached Trump and created subcommittees and subpoenaed and all those other things, they're going to almost certainly do it again in 2027. And that is a good thing. They will slow down this government. And here's the big picture. Okay, here's the big picture. Let me just say it again for everybody at home. Here is the big picture, okay? In 2028, let me just tell you the significance of this. In 2028, this will be the first election.
I think we're too divided and dumbed down. Not enough niggas are smart enough to even do that. To even know we're being conquered and destroyed right now. To even know our country's being taken over right now. Not enough people even understand that right now. They're still thinking about the fucking NBA finals, my guy. So you might be right again.
since 2012 when Donald Trump is not on the ballot. That's a really big deal. Trump was on the ballot in 2016, 2020, 2024, and it really wasn't even negotiable in the last two elections. In 2016, there was a real primary contest, and the people chose Trump. But in 2020, he was running as an incumbent, so there was no primary. And in 2024, he might as well have been running as an incumbent because he was seeking a non-consecutive second term, okay? So 2028 is going to be the first time in 16 years. It will have been 16 years since Trump is not on the ballot. And obviously, so much has changed in 16 years, much of it having to do with Trump. So going ahead to the 2028 primary, I believe that the right wing in this country, the white people, the Christians, the conservatives, the nationalists, the immigration hawks, the anti-war people, the social conservatives, I believe that anybody that would identify as right-wing or Republican or as part of the opposition, we deserve an opportunity to have a fair fight. And by that, I mean we should get options. This is the first time that Trump is not going to be shoved down our throat. So 2028, we should have an open primary where we actually have a competition. It should be competitive, and we should have a lot of different voices and get a say in where the Republican Party is going to go after Trump and where the country is going to go. This is vital because on the Democrat side, you know what you're going to get. On the Democrat side, like I will be the first one to say the Democrats are fucked, okay? And they do want to kill us and they do want to destroy us. They're going to put up somebody, like they don't even want to entertain the notion that they'll nominate a white man, okay? We're getting BLM on steroids. We're getting the trans agenda. We're getting democratic socialists. We're getting people like Hassan Piker and Zohran Mamdani. We're getting feminists. We're getting
Niggas like molesting me. Niggas like molesting me.
Absolute garbage. We know we're going to get garbage from the Democrats. We know what we're getting. Nobody wants that to happen. Okay? I want them to win in 26 for those reasons. I do not want them to win in 28. I do not want a Democrat to be in charge of law enforcement at the federal level, which is what happens in a presidential election year. I do not want a Democrat to have a unified government, meaning to have the White House and both chambers of Congress. That would be ruinous. And yes, they would kill us if they did that. So we know what we're going to get with the left. It's going to be garbage. We know that's not something that we can entertain. So the only opportunity that we have is if we get a good Republican nominee. We need a good, because that's the only place where you're going to get nationalism. You're not going to get a nationalist, an immigration hawk. You're not going to get somebody that is going to restrain Jewish power in the Democratic Party. It's only going to come from the Republican side, but from a specific faction. And that faction can only exercise influence during the caucus and primary process, during the Iowa caucus, during the New Hampshire primary. That's where, if you have 15 candidates, you only need a candidate getting a plurality of the votes to get the delegates. So, you know, if you have a big crowded field and the vote is split between 10 or 15 people or something like that, that is where the Groypers or the nationalists or somebody that is truly savvy, they won't even need to win a majority of everybody. They're just going to need to rack up enough delegates with a plurality. That is our opportunity to get somebody sympathetic in the White House, which is where it counts. Okay?
And then women do all the voting, so that's where we get fucked at too.
Okay? Now let's think ahead to 2028. What is happening right now is that there is a shadow war between...
I'm telling you, that's what, don't worry. We don't worry. We finna make a change on my soul.
J.D. Vance and
on
Marco
my soul,
Rubio.
I am.
Perfect.
They both want to be coronated. Neither of them wants a primary process. They don't want to compete. They don't want to have to fight off against a dozen other candidates. And the party is looking, and by that I mean the endorsements, the rank and file, the conference in Congress, the donors, They're making their decisions about which of these candidates, the VP or the Secretary of State, are going to be coronated as a successor. And once that decision is made, the whole party is going to line up and consolidate behind one of them. And if you have one super powerful candidate, like let's say J.D. Vance is the guy and Rubio falls in line, then he is going to crush everybody in Iowa. He's going to crush everybody in every primary, and he's going to be the guy. Or vice versa. If everybody consolidates behind Rubio, then Rubio's the guy and Vance falls in line and he's just going to crush everybody. And both of them are unacceptable. J.D. Vance has his connections with Palantir. Rubio has his connections in Florida with Miriam Adelson and with the rest of them, Paul Singer. Both of these options are totally unacceptable. So think about 2028. You have on the Democrat side, Gavin Newsom, terrible. AOC, terrible. J.B. Pritzker, terrible. Each worse than the last. And on the Republican side, if we do nothing, it's going to be Vance, terrible, or Rubio, terrible. All bad options. I'm thinking ahead to 2028. I want Vance and Rubio to be as diminished as possible. And that only happens if the Trump administration is sabotaged. The Trump administration has to fail in every way, has to become more unpopular, weaker. It has to become so toxic that Rubio and Vance are hurt by their association to it, so that it increases the odds that an outsider that is not a part of this train wreck, this Israel-occupied administration, can come in from the outside as a breath of fresh air for a reset and define a whole new period with Trump off the ballot in the next primary. This is what we're thinking. This is what we're cooking up. And what's funny, so I've explained this like 100 times.
I was about to say.
It's like,
oh,
yeah,
God.
okay, yes. Yes, I want them to win. Let me just tell you the significance of this.
Hold up.
With the rest of the or Vance, she's supporting this guy. Here's the didn't listen to his advisors, and he's making their decisions. They want to start donating to screenshot this. It's explained it so much.
There we go.
But people just can't wrap their heads around it. They're like, wait. So you're a Democrat? It's
like I'm telling you guys, he said this. He said this before. And I'm not even, like I said, I don't defend. I'm not really defending people on here. I'm just, telling the truth. And I just tell you, I've heard him definitely say this before, guys. Plenty of times. Especially, like I said, when we were watching the Piers Morgan, I forgot who he was doing an interview with. I forgot the guy's name. It was one of my videos with him went viral on IG. But he was doing an interview with him, and he said it with him, and that was even way before the Piers Morgan interview. So
like, no, and then they go, wait. So you want to vote for them now, but you're saying they're going to hurt us in 28? It's like, yeah, okay, yes. Yes, I want them to win this election, not the next election. Anyway, so that's the idea. But I'm getting a little bit blackpilled because people are just, here's the thing. It's going to regardless, it's going to happen this way. Okay, screenshot this, screen record this. I want everybody to record how they feel right now. Because in 2028, I'm going to be absolutely vindicated. You are once again watching the magic in action. And this time, I'm going to talk my shit and I'm going to say it confidently with my chest. You might watch those clips from 3 years ago and say, how did he predict the war in Iran? How did he predict that Trump would be this bad? How did he predict that there'd be no mass deportations? How did he predict it down to the month, down to the letter? Those same people are now saying, I don't get it. What, we're Democrats now? Screenshot this. It's happening all over again. I will be vindicated. Democrats are going to win the House. The next 2 years of the Trump administration are going to be a train wreck. He might die in office. I don't want that to happen, but it might happen. He's certainly going to be impeached. They're going to grind every initiative, every program to a halt. He's only going to get more unpopular. And soon, in 2027, the Republican primary is going to begin. The Republican primary for the 2028 presidential election is going to start sometime next year. It might happen in January. It might happen in the spring or summer, but it's going to happen at the minimum, at the earliest, at the midpoint next year. And these are the conversations that people are going to have. The donors are already making their decisions. They want to start donating to Rubio or Vance. All of this is starting right now. We have to start thinking about this right now. And if you want an opportunity, if you even want a chance in hell at having a Groyper president, a nationalist, America First president, we have to start gaming it out right now. And, you know, this
So what I take this advice as, like, this is like, okay, so when he was like, and this is why I don't understand, like, it's okay to disagree with people and still understand and still not like hate them or like call or like think they're federal or like, for example, like with him in Venezuela, I didn't really agree that we should have went in Venezuela and did that. I don't think we should have done that. Do I not like Nick or not listen to Nick's takes or not listen to Myron or Myron didn't like it, but not listen to whoever liked it, you know, like sometimes we're not gonna agree on everything, but I don't think you should just turn your back. Well, I don't even think Dan turned his back. I would just say I don't think you should attack somebody if you disagree with them.
relates to what just happened.
Especially if they have the balls to come and explain it like any of them do, like they all do. So it's like
Happened with Casey Push. Okay, Casey Push, who ran against Vivek Ramaswamy in Ohio. So it would have been ideal and probably winnable if a America First candidate ran against Vivek for the Republican primary in the governor's race. Casey Push ran a terrible campaign, raised no money, didn't listen to his advisors, and he still
yeah, I saw that Valhalla video talking about this is not a test. I'm definitely gonna watch that after, but yeah, I definitely peeped that.
Got 18% of the vote, and people are right that that's a big deal. It's huge. He got over 100,000 votes, and it's true. He raised no money, had no operation, did no events, no virality at all, nothing. But you know what he says after he loses this winnable election? He says, well, I only raised $100,000 and I've only been in it for 5 months, so that's pretty good. And people say, why aren't you supporting this guy? Here's the difference. I don't want to be a day late and a dollar short and fucking lose and then shrug my shoulders and say, hey, not bad. No, we need to win. We need to win.
It's not bad.
So there's all the difference in the world between somebody who gets red-pilled yesterday, sees a race, goes all in with no intention of winning, 5 months before the primary, doesn't even know if they're going to be on the ballot and says, hey, let's just give it a shot. Look, we're not taking this seriously. Nobody really plans on winning. Maybe it'll go well. Who cares? No, that's not good enough. The 2028 primary is winnable. But listen, it's a presidential primary. If we're going to have a chance, you got to take it seriously. And taking it seriously means you need to think that far ahead. And it is a bit convoluted. Okay? Yes, I know this requires some second and third order thinking, but that is what is required if you want to be a Machiavellian. That is what is required if you want to win in politics. So no, I don't want to wake up in the middle of 2027 with my dick in my hand and my pants around my ankles and say, oh, gee, I think we need to get in the primary. Somebody needs to do something. Let's start a campaign and not know if we're on the ballot. No, we need to think about this now. And we need to think about the challenges that we are going to face. And I'm telling it to you right now. I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not an oracle. I'm not a soothsayer. But next year, our top op is going to be J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio because they have the boss. Trump is formally the head of the party as the president. They are second and third in the chain of command in the government. I think Secretary of State is fourth. I'm not sure. But it's like Vance and Rubio, formally in government and informally in the party, they are the successors. And they are going to suck up all the money, all the earned media, all the attention, and all the votes if there is not a wrecking ball that hurts them. I can't destroy them. The Groypers are not strong enough to destroy the GOP machine, but the Democrats are. If the Democrats are empowered in 26, because they are naturally set against Republicans, they are powerful enough to degrade meaningfully their chances of winning. How? Democrats having oversight power will subpoena and depose members of the Trump government. They will expose the fraud, real corruption, real Epstein stuff, the rest of it. It is going to be so radioactive and poisonous and toxic. It is going to seriously wound everybody in this administration. And that is good because those are the people we're going to be fighting against in the 2028 primary, which starts next year. So, that's all I have to say to all these people is call me when you want to get serious.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. Oh, man. That's why Nick is that guy. That's my guy, bro. I really fuck with Nick. I honestly, I like listening to Nick, Myron, all these guys, Dan, any of them. But Nick and Myron are my two favorite guys right now. Like, those are my guys. I don't even know if it's because Nick is my age or whatever, but like I'm telling you, bro, he always tells you what's going on. Like I've never had a problem with Nick. I've never had a problem with Myron. Like I swear, I can go to Myron and he's gonna tell you exactly what he's doing. I can go to Nick. He's gonna explain exactly, break it down, like molecular. Like I don't have a problem with that. I might not like what Nick is doing. I might not want him to do that, but I don't have a problem with what he's doing. I wouldn't go on, and because like I said, I like Dan as well. So I just don't like when they attack each other. It's just, we need to stay firm in this because it's not too many of us. It's not too many of us noticers. It's not too many of us groypers. It's not too many of us wing halves out here where we can fight each other. So it's like I said, like I just watch. I never really choose sides. I just listen to what's going on. And this is basically Nick explaining himself. But yeah, I was waiting to see if anybody was gonna break that down because I saw Dan say that today, and I was like, damn, we about to get into another motherfucking fight. God damn it. But yeah, damn. Okay, so basically Nick is saying we vote Democrat because Democrat's gonna be the slum. But he's like I said, he said this before, and I understand it. So like I wouldn't like it's a good idea. I understand everybody that says there's no point because Jews control everything. But it's like we should try something, even if it's not the violent thing first, which is something I don't want to do. Because violence is, I try to say violence is never the answer, but that's how every revolution has been, fought is through violence. No revolution has been successful through peace. I haven't, maybe Gandhi, but not too many revolutions have been just peaceful. But I understand the plan. I get it. Something I would do. Depends on how, like you said, depends on how serious you are. If you're dead ass serious and you really want to try to change something, I get that. Like I said, I get the plan, but I hate when they attack each other. But guys, W stream today, definitely late because was trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. I will make sure it's through the narrow gate. That's what she said, but I will make sure to. I'm glad the chat shows up on here. I don't know what shows on anything because nothing tells me anything, but yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping by, Unc. This was a chill stream today on Friday. That's what she said. Tell you stream. I know, but I appreciate you for stopping by, brother. What you always do, so it's not like you never. I'm saying you never do, but appreciate you for today. Hope I'm gonna try to figure out how to fix things, but like I said, I be working so much, guys. I don't really even have time. I don't even have time to really play the game. I probably like because I play League of Legends. If anything, like I was playing Arc Raiders, but Arc's updates were getting, and because I'm PvP, so Arc's updates were getting kind of ass. So I went back to my League. So League is like a 30, 45 minute game. On Madden, I'm on 2K. I can't. I suck at Madden. I'm 2K. You know, I'm black, nigga. The fuck? But if anything, you can see me on Street Fighter, Jump Force, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. What's another fighting game? What's another fighting game that I got? I'm trying to get Smash. I need Smash Bros. That is the most elite fighting game in the world. If I can get my hands on a fucking Switch, bro, I would definitely stream Smash Bros every day. Xbox, yeah, definitely. I definitely got Jump Force for Xbox. Xbox gang all day. Definitely run that Jump Force. I don't fucking play around in that Jump Force shit. That Jump Force, I think I was, before they shut down the servers, I was like A4. I still be running into niggas on there. Niggas still play that shit. Like, and the niggas who play that shit just guard break cheese the whole game. They're so fucking ass. But yeah, Jump Force, if they just what people don't understand is when you drop a game, you have to stay on it and update it so that it becomes balanced, unless you don't care about your game. Because if it's not balanced, nobody's gonna play it. I got Jump Force. I'm telling you, Jump Force is nice. We might be able to run it on Jump Force one day. Don't worry, I got you. Wasn't on it? It's okay. It's okay. Don't get mad at me. Where is he from? Gintama? I've never seen Gintama. I'm mad Guts wasn't on there. No, we stopped. But that's my favorite anime. My favorite anime, I want to say right now, I would say favorite anime. I would say JJK right now is my favorite. And I got a JJK Curse Clash. That shit. Record of Ragnarok is I've never seen that either. I would say like I said, my favorite right now is JJK. They're cooking, but OG favorite would be Dragon Ball Z Naruto, typical shit. W stream guys. I will make sure to figure out this chat shit, hopefully, and then I could be able to talk to everybody and see everybody. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for stopping. Shout out to Unc with the subs. I will see y'all boys on Monday. Peace!
The bitch shaking it, showing it. You this, you that. We laughing at them together. Oh! So stop treating these mother like they mean something.
Let's go to TikTok.